Base is the camera, obviously, and the housing. So let's just start with the camera. What we try to do is create or look for and anticipate which high-end compacts are going to be the best sellers. And honestly, the business model is that if you get a camera that's going to be like a huge seller, then just proportionally, percentage-wise, you're going to have a good chance of selling more houses, especially if it has very good characteristics for underwater, whether it be a fast sensor or a nice angle or underwater photo mode and stuff like these are things that we kind of pick up on.
Video.
Yeah, and HD video, of course. And Canon really has been, you know, ahead of the field on high-end compact in all those departments, and macro. It has an awesome macro as well. So that's the camera. So that's some of our competitors on the lower end of the scale, and I don't want to be negative, but some of them, they make an attractive package, but the core thing, the camera, doesn't reach the standards of this Canon or Sony or even Nikon groupings. So that's the core of our, and then what we try to do is design the system that is going to be the best for the consumer and the user. And you know, all of us in our business, and you can see it sometimes on the social media, we love to take pictures. I mean, we're really into this thing. It's not like we're
in the United States.
Yeah, the warehouse for shipping and handling and all that. We have a global company. So we have in Asia, in Hong Kong. We have in Washington State on the West Coast for the United States, and we also have in Holland for the European market. Okay, so having said that, let's just kind of bring in the other element, which is the case. And our case that we make is purpose designed. Icolite basically has 3 or 4 boxes, and what they do is as soon as the camera comes out, and it's an efficient method, is they start drilling holes in the boxes, putting in the levers that they've been using for 15 years, and they're ready to go. But it's not as, just say, specifically designed for the camera itself. So there's it's bulkier, it's square, there's a lot of dead space. It's not as ergodynamic as our product is. And anyway, so I'm going to go over this each one. I just want to, while I have this out, I'm going to open up a box and just see what happens when it comes out of the box in a second. We've added a few things here. We've added now a hand strap. And I think some of your guys maybe do surf photography or, you know, surface, water. You know, this is a very handy thing, and it comes in the box.
That's new now.
That's a new on all the FG16s, and it will be standard. The other thing we put in is a neoprene lens port cover, which is very good, avoiding scratches and any damage that could be done to the lens port. And this, by the way, both of these things could be universal. I don't want to say universal, but they could probably fit other housings, especially ones with this type of format.
E15.
Yeah, or even I think the Canon housings themselves, and I think some of the older Panasonic, all the cameras that used to have a big ratio between wide angle and zoom, usually had to have this type of a port because of the vignetting factor of the wide angle. They had to make the port bigger, which created a hell of a lot of problems for everybody, but that was the solution. So anything that, and this is kind of elasticity to it, so it could fit on a lot of houses. I'm going to say most. Okay, so that's 2 features that we've added. The third feature that we've added, which we did last year, which I think we're the only housing in the market in our price range for sure, that has an alarm sensor for
moisture.
And you know, as soon as anything gets on it, there's a little sensor at the bottom of it, and it picks it up, and bells and whistles. You hear it and you see it, and it's great. It just gives an extra added level of confidence. You asked about the O-ring, so you have here a compression O-ring seal right here, which you don't have to do too much. Just keep it clean. And then we have a radial seal here on the door, which gets most of the friction, and that one you would want a silicone in every once in a while. By the way, we make silicone grease and silica gel packs, and they're quite popular, and we sell a lot of them. And with your permission, I'm going to use maybe some of our experience working with B&H, because we've worked with them for 8 or 9 years now, and they're a very big account of ours, and they have a lot of SKUs, a lot of our products outside of the core housing and so we'll talk about that. But I think they're a better model for you than if I start talking about dive shops or stuff like that. Okay, so those are some. The last thing I just want to say is that we do have this cold shoe mount. This is not new. We've had this from even the Coolpix days. But we've made adapters which can handle GoPro. Sometimes you get in a situation, you pop in a GoPro on the top, and you could be doing stills, and GoPro could be running in the background doing video. The beautiful thing about this camera, one of the really nice selling features to me, is the ease of moving from still to video. Because if I turn this guy on and I want to shoot a still shot, okay, and I just click the button. If I want to go video, there's a second button. And they're right next to each other. So I was just photographing in Cuba last week, and I was in these schools of sharks. And that's like a dilemma. I'm not trying to blow my own horn. I'm just saying they're there. You can take a picture of it, and I wanted to take stills because you're coming like head on at me. But I said, wait a minute. As they move, it's so graceful, and so beautiful. And the beauty of moving from still to video, and the results are just.
Why don't you show it on the housing?
On the housing as well, yeah. Okay, so the housing basically parallels or mirrors the camera. And one of the things that we're very proud about is first of all, how nicely we have the markation of the different controls. You can really see it. If you take, for example, the Canon housing for the G16, it's clear marking on clear plastic. You really can't even see it even out of the water. In the water, forget about it. But here you really have every dial clearly marked, and you can see it very well. And anyway, so the video control is here with a little red dot. We made it easier. You can see it there?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. And we also made kind of a little protection rib around it, so you can't accidentally kind of turn it on. And nothing could be worse than accidentally turning on a video thing and start diving, and all of a sudden you don't have any battery, and you've got a bunch of your knees and somebody else's elbow and something else, and you've lost your whole battery and memory card. So and the white dot here is the shutter release. So between those two, and it's
and sunshade.
Pardon?
You have the sunshade.
Yeah. Okay.
Most of them don't have that.
Yeah. And we have a sunshade that comes off, and we could. I mean, if you're photographing at night, maybe you don't need a sunshade. You could just take it off. These things are secured also, so you don't float away, and it's easy enough just to put it back on and use it if you need. If you have, a lot of times you have backlight. You can't even see the LCD screen. Yeah. Interestingly enough, this camera has also an eyepiece, which is very good, especially if you're shooting outside with the bright sunlight. You can use the eyepiece. I'm recording now. You see, I almost lost my battery. Okay, so that's just kind of the overall basic features. One or two other things I want to say. This camera has like a SLR format. In other words, the operating platform. And we have a command dial up in the front, which you just kind of roll your finger with, and that will usually give you your shutter speed. And then you have one on the back, which gives you your aperture, which is cool. The problem is, and by the way, you can switch them through the menu. You can switch them if you have another priority. The problem is creating a control for this rotating dial. It's not simple. It's not much easier to do pushing dials, especially if you want to be waterproof. But we created here on the back door here, this round dial here. It's very cool. It does 6 functions. It does all the 4. You have four multifunction here, and then you also have the confirm OK in the middle, and then you have the sub command rotating. And this control does all of them. So you don't have to go into the menu and start playing with the menu. You could just straight out in the box. Just rotate that, push it, or push one of the little buttons on the side, which handle the light, the strobe, the flash, or the macro, or the manual focus, or the display. So all of these things are just pushing. The other thing that we have, which is kind of unique, is that we have the ability to pop up and put down the flash without going into the menu. Because we have a control here which pops up the flash, and then we have a control here at the top which pushes the flash down just enough to make it dysfunctional, to cancel it. So if you want to go natural light all of a sudden, in the middle of a dive, you don't have to go into the menu and start, canceling the flash. You just push that thing down and it does the job. So, I mean, we're really, I think our motto is that we've made so many mistakes that we finally learn from them. And we're creating a platform which gives you guys and your customers more opportunities to enhance the results of their images, okay? So if you just go in with the camera and the housing and use the own built-in diffuser, then you're gonna get nice pictures. But if you want to move to another level, we're going to give you the tool. See, this is the diffuser that comes in the box as well. So when we start doing our testing, we start just like this. We don't put on all the other stuff. And we go around and we take pictures of, little clownfish and anemones and stuff like that and get really remarkable results. Okay, so let me just move from here and just go for a second in what's in the box, and then I'll go into the accessory package, and then if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Of course, just want to see it. Yeah.
You break it, you buy it. That's my working housing, so it's
I like the grip. That's a nice addition.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Okay, so I'm going to open the box. This came in yesterday.
By the way, the box that is shipped to the booth?
Yeah, everything is packed to go to show.
Okay.
It all came in, I saw it yesterday.
So when you guys are in the store and somebody comes in and you want to start explaining what they have here, so the first thing is we have a manual which we've written ourselves. It's developed over a year. The results are really what it's all about, because that's why we do what we do. And I shot SLRs all of my life, and going way, way, way back. And I wouldn't, if I thought that I was giving up on quality, or to a large degree, let's say, I'd be still shooting SLRs. But I believe that I can get the results, similar results, parallel results, compatible results, shooting high-end, whether it's the mirrorless or it's the high-end, compacts like the G16 and the Sony. I just think the results are incredible. And I have galleries up there. It's on the internet. You can look at the results of it.
Plus it shoots raw.
Not only that, you have the...
my bag?
Yeah.
Because the Canon has plus my camera bag, plus my...
Yeah. So this is how I travel, literally.
That's a good selling point too.
Yeah.
Because like in a CNC housing, you gotta
Yeah.
big suitcase and luggage.
Today with overweight and all the hassle, I did a workshop, like a photo workshop. We had like 6 guys shooting this system in Cuba. And so I took a second bag just for backup gear. But the one that I shot with, it all went in here.
The whole kit.
The whole kit, the whole system went in there. So here's the system. So, like I said, the tray, we call it the Blu-ray tray. It can come as a single unit, or we have an extension wing. So you could buy it as a double tray, you could buy it as a single tray, and you could also buy the extension wing here. So if somebody can grow with the system, he could start with the basic, tray, arm, one light, start to learn the thing, and then he said, I'm ready for a second strobe. I'm ready to put an LED video light on the end of it, and we just sell them the extension. And it's 4 screws, you plug it, you screw them in, and you're ready to go. So, then we have this flex arm. You could adapt to also a ball and joint, a ball arm, whatever they call it today. I was saying DJ yesterday, and they were looking at me like I gave a talk, and they looked at me like I was crazy. That's the old days. Used to be ball and joint.
Right.
And this is built on the CNC system of the T1, they call it. And basically, this guy just sits here, and I don't want to go into it because you guys deal in this here. I don't want to be, but the strobe, we're working with Eno now, but we also worked in the past with. We have our own little nano strobe, which is a small, tiny entry-level strobe, but they all have the same system. And this thing just pops up here, and you screw it in here, and this plugs into the what I showed you on the housing, and you're ready to go, just like that.
You're gonna have a CNC flashes in the
Okay, so
Yeah, it's fiber optic triggering.
so you can even see we designed in such a way that there's kind of room for your hand. Also, there's like a drop area here, so it's not on the same level as the housing, so it makes it a little easier. On the tray also we have what we call a swivel bar, and the swivel bar, it stops the housing from rotating, and it's adjustable, so different housings could use it. We even have two holes here for the Icolite, and some other cameras have twin screw systems, so we give special screws with the tray for the Icolite housing. So we try to think of everything here, and to make it, easy. And this all comes inside when you buy the tray. Okay. All right. So now what I personally lately have been doing, because I'm always in this dilemma, going still to video to still, what I want to do. In the old days, you used to decide, I'm going to shoot video. I take my video camera and my video housing, all the water. And then all of a sudden you have these great still opportunities that really kind of gone, and vice versa. Today you don't have that dilemma anymore. You just decide which button you push and you're there. But it creates a challenge on lighting, because if you're shooting a twin strobe system, then you're really not going to get that very important video lighting that you need. And the LED revolution, LED revolution, has changed so many things. Because you're getting these powerful LED lights now. Which, I made a movie many years ago in the Red Sea, and the guy who made it was the editor of Skin Diver magazine, which was the magazine before Sport Diver and all that. Yeah, Paul Simolis, and Jack McKinney was his editor. And Jack McKinney came out to the Red Sea, and we were making this movie, which was a great movie. And he had a little generator, and he had cables, and he had these battery of lights. And he had a cable that you had to swim with the cable to light up, which with the same amount of output as you have with this thing.
Wow.
That's so mind-boggling to me. So what I've started to do, and I did in Cuba now, was I mounted my strobe on one side.
I mounted. Show it together.
Yeah.
With the housing, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll put the thing on, but. I mounted the strobe on one side, I mounted the LED light on the other, so at any given time I could go from one to the other, and I was able, the LED lights are so strong, you can use them for fill lighting on your still shots, so you're not really losing much. And I'll tell you the truth, I'll give you a confession that I even mounted on the cold shoe another LED video lights. I had like 4,000 lumen. Shooting off the top of this thing. And, we were shooting sharks and they're a little bit away, and you could see the effect of the light on their silver bodies. It's just, just awesome. Okay, anyway, so I'm not going to go through the whole mechanics of putting it up, but this obviously puts on here, on our housing we have 3/4 inch mounts here. So you could even use 2 instead of 1 if you want to. Okay, just to show you, or you could use either one that you want to.
I think the hallmark of your system are these press fit lenses too.
Yeah, and that's where I'm going next. Okay, so optics is very important underwater, and obviously choices that you're going to have optically. So the camera itself has a very good macro system. Nonetheless, we have a macro. Yeah. Nonetheless, we have. Be careful, you don't want to be blind anymore. I don't have any liability in this store. Okay.
1600 lumens.
That's 1600, but it's kicking up to 2000.
I will show how it goes on the phone.
Yeah. I'll explain it. If you give me a second, I'll talk about it. There's always somebody who gets fascinated by the lights.
The lights. Show me the lights.
Show me the
I
lights.
can barely swim, that's why.
Yeah, that's why. There you go.
This is
That's
Fernando.
amazing.
He's also a manager here.
Okay, please tell me.
Camera department.
Okay.
Thanks for coming, yeah.
Oh, it's a
We'll
pleasure.
try and get as many
Okay.
people down here as we can.
Okay, so here is the mount for the LED light, and obviously you can angle it according to your need, or however you want it. A few things about it. So this one has 3 power outputs. It has full with a big wide 5500 Kelvin temperature, color, but you don't want to use that all the time. You don't really need to use it all the time. So you could, on one click, go down to half power, and another click, you can go down to third power. And that's usually enough to go around, and then if you see something you really need, you click it one more time, you're back on full power. And also, you want to know what your battery output is. So you see here, it's on blue. So as that thing starts to go down, it's going to go to yellow. And when it gets really low, like 1/4, it's going to get to red. And just before it gets darkest, it starts blinking. And it's saying, you guys better start thinking about getting out of the water.
Burn time?
The burn time on this is about an hour, but
55 minutes.
55 minutes of full power.
Full power, 55.
Yeah, but if you're...
One dive.
Yeah. No, it's one dive at full power, but like I'm saying, you don't need full power.
Yeah, you don't always use it.
If you manage this well. The other good selling point about this light as opposed to the solar light, in my opinion, is that you open it up and you take out the batteries and you can recharge them. So you can always have this is good for you for sales too. You can always sell battery sets.
With a replaceable charger.
With a replaceable charger. Yeah, I mean, we have different types of sets, but with chargers that are available, and so you always have a backup set. So you finish a dive, you're doing repetitive dives, you want to get back in the water in an hour, you don't have to sit and wait for 3 hours until the thing recycles. Okay, so that...
Now, as in, as I don't dive or anything, but isn't that, it seems like a ton of light output. So by default, is that enough, those LEDs, is that sort of enough, for most divers?
For
steam? Both, you know what I mean?
You mean for steam?
What you're saying
for
is...
both, like a safe way to sell it.
The answer I'll say to that is marginally depending on your power output of the particular light you're using, because every light, I mean, there are lights like this that have 800 lumen, there are lights like this that have 5,000 lumen. So you have to really depend on that. It's moving in that direction, definitely. And there were
you always could do both, like you were saying, right?
Yeah, and you could always do both. And there were dives where I just put on LED lights, and I got remarkable results. Yeah, the LED technology is a phenomenal technology,
And you're not stuck in the recycle times.
Yes, yeah. And I have a light that I'm developing now, which is giving ability to do wide angle and narrow beam for night dives. And also it has red light, which is an amazing effect sometimes on some of the bioluminescent corals. It's just mind-boggling how it looks with the red light. So here I just popped on the housing there. You can just see it's just sitting there. And like I said, just within a second, I pop on the strobe. And once again, this whole system goes in this little padded bag.
Now, I think we have, we have a lot of things on the website as separate items. I really want to move into getting it as packages on the website too.
And I can send you a package. The thing is that we sell the Enon S2000, which we think it's phenomenal. It's the S1, the O2 is not, obviously it's a good flash, the D1 is a good flash, but by buying the whole thing they also save money, so there is a benefit there. So I'll send you the package, and at the show I'll create a package for people.
Perfect.
I just want to say one comment about what Didi said. And we've had a little experience in this area. I mentioned B&H earlier, Adorama and other stores, Helix. We found, and I think you see this in Pioneer Sea Life and other companies, that a lot of people want you to solve the problem for them.
Yeah.
They want to walk in, it's like a consumer thing, this is your package you want. You need this, in this box I'm going to give you a housing, a light,